Hey guys, welcome to another episode of RHINOjoe Outdoors, and on today's episode I'm going to talk about the Squarebill Crankbait and how you're probably fishing it wrong. Coming up. So guys, this is one of my favorite lures. If you've watched my channel for any time, you've probably seen I love cranking. So if you're new here, I'm Ryan, and I appreciate you guys coming by RHINOjoe Outdoors, where I like to share my passion with you for the outdoors. And as I always say, get outside, do something awesome. And one thing that I love to do that's awesome is fish a Squarebill crankbait. If you're fishing this bait, there's things that I see people do wrong all the time. I was fishing at this event one time, and I was just straight slaying them on this thing. And I was in a boat with two other people, and they weren't catching them nearly like I did. Ended up catching my personal best largemouth bass that day. But what I noticed is there's some difference in the way that I fish it. Number one, you cannot be afraid to get this thing hung up. You would be amazed at how shallow you can fish it and how deep you can fish it, depending on your retrieve, line size, and those other factors. But you cannot be afraid to get it hung up. If you're fishing it in the right places, you're going to get it hung up. You're going to get it hung up in rocks. You're going to get it hung up in brush. So whether it's rocks or brush, you want to be casting it to places where it's going to deflect off stuff. You want to hit stuff, cause commotion. That's how that bait triggers those reaction strikes from those fish. Number two, your retrieve. A lot of people just kind of slowly crank this, and I will say that sometimes that works. Sometimes you can take this 2.5 and really slowly crank it up really shallow, and it's amazing. It's got a lot of buoyancy, so it's going to float up if you stop. But a lot of people fish it too slow. This is a reaction strike, and you got to think about, you're giving that fish a split second or just a few seconds to really commit to striking at that lure. And that's really where I think this thing is deadly, is you're forcing those fish to make that quick decision. So when you're fishing this, experiment with your retrieve. Don't just do that steady, slow retrieve. Whether you're up shallow around cover or you're deep, where you're not even hitting the bottom, but maybe you're bumping it into a tree that's sitting out in the middle of the water. You want to experiment with that retrieve. If you've ever watched me fish with this lure, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll get to a good speed, and then I'll almost jerk it like a lot of people jerk a jerk bait, and I'll be like, do a couple cranks, and I'll tick tick, and then I'll crank it, tick tick tick, and I'll allow that bait. When you do that, it allows that bait to dart, and then it'll have a quick pause. And a lot of times that, right as soon as that quick pause happens and you're pulling it, that's when that rod's going to load up, and you're going to feel that big old slaunch donkey on there, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's what I should be doing. And finally, the third thing that I'm going to say that is a mistake a lot of people make is not experimenting around with different sizes. When it comes to this bait, there are so many different size options nowadays. There's a bunch of different brands. Everybody has their favorite brands, but you're doing yourself a disservice if you haven't tried a couple different brands and different sizes. If the water's really dingy and it's got a lot less visibility, you might do yourself a little bit better by switching up to a little bit bigger size. If it's really clear, you might downsize to like the 1.0 or 1.5. When you really start slaying them and catching them, just remember that you want to experiment with these three things that I said today, and I really think that's going to help you guys catch more fish. It is currently the fall right now when I'm shooting this video, but man, this lure will catch them really year round, but it's especially deadly in the spring, and I mean, I catch them on it in the summer and the fall. But give this a try the next time you all go out. If you all have another tip for fishing square bills that I maybe didn't mention, put that down in the comments below. And as always, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you coming and check out my videos. And don't forget to get outside, do something awesome, and take somebody with you if you get a chance. I'll see you guys in the next one.